这是人工倒计时。
Hello and welcome back, all the participants and special guests. Good evening from all the participants from China, from Asia Pacific area, and also good afternoon, the guests from Europe, and good early morning from the special guests from the East Coast of America. So this is the Digital Future 2020 opening event. So this year we special name gave a topic, One Planet. So try to address our situation. This is really a special time. Not only in China, we suffer a lot from the lockdown. At the same time, on the side of the planet, we have war, and a lot of people rethinking on the new technology research right now, how to have the feedback or correlation, which I said to the rethinking on the planet. So that's the brief topic of this year, and especially thanks to the academic support from UIA PPC, and also Institution Registered Architects ASC, and the Computational Design Academic Committee, and Architect Sector from Sector of Architecture Society of China, and also Academic Committee of Shanghai Digital Fabrication Engineering Technology Center. And this special event is organized and hosted by Tongji University. So this is 12th year for us to host this special event. So we're from a very small event, like only 30 students participate to this super big event. This year we have more than 7,000 participants joining this super big events. So that's showing Tongji University will contribute our effort to the whole world. So tonight is the opening event, especially for the workshops, and welcome, join us. So Digital Futures actually, which is set up by Tongji University, sharing the education content and accessible for everyone across the world. Growing as a digital platform, Digital Futures aims to promote international collaborations around a broad range of contemporary issues in the discipline of architecture and associated fields, with a particular emphasis on the latest computational design and fabrication technology. And it also addresses broader ethical and social issues, such as environmental concerns within our ever-evolving, highly technological culture. So the event actually integrating a lot of special content, including conference, talks, workshops, publications, and lectures over the past 12 years. So we have a lot of very special guests coming in the last few years. Before 2020, actually, we invite all the guests to Shanghai, and they coming to participate in the conference and also teaching different workshops. That's really a good special memory for us to link with the world. So a lot of important, iconic professors like Anthony Picon, Tom Mann, Mi Jingyun, Nada Tarani, Philip Brock, Mike Xie, Patrick Schumacher, and also including like Ma Yansong, who also make a keynote speech tonight, and Jules Rasting, Andy Clark, who is a philosophy, and Xu Weibo, who is a professor from Tsinghua University, also Mark Burry, Aki Mangus. I think all of them contributes a lot to this committee, and we have like this last year start to set up like a fellowship for Digital Futures. So including Aki Mangus and Matt Thompson, Areti, Marco Polo, and Philip Brock and Mike Xie. And this year, we try to select 2 more fellow to showing their leadership in the community. So thanks a lot to all these researchers and practitioners contribute to the community. And this year, actually, we can have a global view of Digital Futures, the participants actually from all over the world. You can see the round circle showing the numbers of the participants, not only China, but also the States, Europe, Africa, Australia. We had a lot of participants from different universities and institutions. So this is a poster for this year. Actually, you can see we subdivided all the workshops by 12 different languages, including the English, Chinese, Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, Arabic, Korean, so on and so forth. So all these events actually organized by different hubs. And most of them are the professors, young professors in different universities, and also they're guided by the fellow who play leading roles to give them very strong support to organize all these events. So you can see the number. We are growing after the pandemic from 75 workshops to this year, more than 130 workshops, and the instructors actually more than 250. And this year, until last night, so we have the workshops 133, and the instructors going to 320, and from 2008 countries, 115 institutions. So the most special this year, we start to subdivide all these workshops by language channels. So these are the coordinators in different cities around the world. So DigitalFUTURES, the instructors' background from 28 countries. You can see crossing different countries, and the most of them from this different institutions. The maximum is from UCL London, and second from Tongji University, and including GSD, RMIT, a lot of university from the world, the instructors. And this is the keywords for the workshops. So the most maximum are the computational design and artificial intelligence, and also the advanced computation, fabrication, interactive design. So this year we have the applicants more than 7,000. And lastly, we approve 1,500 participants, and also we give more than 5,000 students. They can audit in different workshops and the lectures, and also the conference as well. So the institutions around 1,000 students from different background students. So these are numbers. So this year because the language, we have around 7,000, and the admission actually acceptance rate is going down because of we keep the number and the quality of the workshops. And these are actually the global view of this year, the numbers from different continents. So maximum from China, India, and the second is from the States, and then from Africa, from South America, and Europe, we have more than 1,500. So these are the different continents, almost half from Asia, and the other part, we have a lot from Europe and from North America. So more than 128 countries, they have participants to DigitalFUTURES event. And the diverse applicants' background actually different. Most of them are from architecture discipline, and also some of computer scientists, and also urban designer or the engineer. So different background people, and most of them are the master students. And these are the percentages, and 7% PhD candidates. So this is the software skills. We try to figure out the applicants. They turn their application, and this is showing their background. So also this is showing the numbers from 736 institutions. For the circle scale represent the numbers of the applicants. So Tongji, because we are the organizers, we have maximum applicants, and second is UCL, and Tehran is from India, from Iran, and also AA, and also MIT, IAC, and Southeast University, CETA from Europe, MIT. So we have a lot of institutions background applicants. So these are last week, Tongji actually contributes PhD consortium, which is like a sharing PhD platform. So we invited the most prominent professors, for example, like Anthony Picon from Harvard GSD, Matthew Thompson, director of CETA, and the former dean of UVA, Ayla Berman, and Professor Li Shiqiao, who gave 3 lectures, very good lectures, and also Daniel Bolligen, who is extremely young, but he won the DigitalFUTURES Award last year, and who gave the opening speech in the PhD courses. Last weekend, we organized 4 forums of Young Scholars Symposium, 4 sessions, including architectural fabrication and robotics, AI and human-machine interaction, hybrid forms, and virtual architecture, and innovative structure and material, so on and so forth. And this week, we just finished 7 PhD courses, including Maria Capel and Kilmo, Matthias de Campo, and also Liam Yang, who gave a prominent, extremely good lecture, and Peter Truman from University of Innsbruck, Imro Ko from Singapore, and also Yupeng Wu, Jack Wu from University of Nottingham. I think they give us special memory to, especially to the Tongji PhD candidates, and also we open sharing it on Bilibili and YouTube. So right now on the platform of our online, we upload more than 300 lectures. So someone named as like the metaverse of the internet architecture school, because this we try to give a new culture. It's like a sharing culture, and actually the students and professors can assemble the new knowledge based on their research. And this is like you can assemble all these lectures to set up different courses in the future. So we try to update all these lectures, not only from Tongji University, but also we already invited UVA and Georgia Tech, FIU, and also University of Innsbruck. They also mentioned they want to upload some courses on this platform. So this year, today, we just finished a long day from the early morning, 8 o'clock, because 43 participants present their papers on the CDRF conference. So this is the conference, all the presentations. I have no time to introduce details. But last but not least is the community of DigitalFUTURES this year launched a new journal named Architectural Intelligence. So today we try to announce the inaugural issue. So this special journal is guided by the scientific design thinking focused on the 3 future scenarios of smart habitat, virtual habitat, and spatial habitat, and utilizing the evidence-based architectural research methodology to introduce the latest scientific research methodology on the platform, academic platform. So welcome all the PhD candidates and research professors to contribute your platform on the website, the springbok.com journal 44223. And this is the actually the content. You can see we have like 15 papers we try to physically publish at the end of August, including Maria Capel gave a very interesting paper about the end of modernity, the teachings of the pandemic articles. He already gave a special lecture on that. I think it's profound thinking on the new tech relationship between new technology and the theory evolution in architecture discipline, and also Neil Leach, Patrick Schumacher, Matthias de Campo. They gave different commentary articles in the first session. And also we have some review articles, all from the most prominent professors around the world, including Mike Xie, including Aki Mangus, Matthew Thompson, Roland Snook, Lin Borong, and Wu Yupeng, and also Liu Jianling. So we have different background people contribute their papers. And also I contribute a special research paper about the linear habitat 3D printing, and also Huang Yu, who is environmental performance expertise, and also contribute paper. We have also Huang Weixing from Tsinghua to give different, I think, contributes to the inaugural issue. So the 15 papers from China, States, UK, and Australia, Germany, Denmark, Swiss, and so on and so forth. So the editorial of the launch editorial is already published on the journal. If you want to read, welcome to read this opening launch editorial paper. So I would like to just briefly introduce the background, and then firstly, the first special guest today is Foundation of Chinese Academy of Engineers, Professor Wu Zhiqiang, who is also the former deputy president of Tongji University and our former dean, who put forward digital in architecture is extremely important almost 20 years ago. So I actually got a lot of advantage from when I was a young professor. So thanks a lot. I would like to give the screen to Professor Wu Zhiqiang. So would like to give you remark your notes.
Thanks, Phillips. Thank you, Professor Yuan. It's a great honor again to participate, and I give the speech opening address for our future digital future. Honorable professors, colleagues, and dear students, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor again we're gathering together. I would like to say on behalf of Tongji University, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to the all around the friends from the world. And it's a great honor again, and I would like to thank you to everyone for your coming and to participate in these Digital Future International events and also the summer workshop. Due to the pandemic and this year's the Digital Futures series of academic activities have been held online, but this is also contribute to the public welfare activity with the largest number of the participants in the world. The academicians and the colleagues, scholars and designers from all of the world, just like Professor Yuan, Philip just mentioned, gathered here to launch this educational experiment that will really examine the digital technology, not also the technology. It's really share the culture, the new culture. In the recent years, digital design and and also the robotic construction have become the frontier issues in the fields of the beauty environment research, which has incomparable the advantages over the traditional methods. In the contents of the area, especially the Industry 4.0, the construction industry have been developed from the focusing only on the concept of the focusing more on the explanation of the integration of the digital design and also the construction together, which is fundamentally solved the problems of the low efficient, many errors, and also for the incomplete information, and also the information in the traditional construction industry. Difficult in the calling, difficult in the updating data, etc. The digitalization is a great change in the field of the architecture design and also the construction. And this is changing will inevitably lead to the improvement of the global human settlement environment. Our school, Tongji University, has carried out long-term explanation of the digital transformation in urban planning, in urban design, architecture, landscape, and other fields. And this is carried out of the key projects such as smart city, intelligent design, and intelligent construction, etc. And we have also achieved a lot of remarkable results. At the same time, we also hope to do our bit to promote the development of the digital technology in the world, and by holding this Digital Futures International Conference and workshop. So I hereby sincerely wish this great event a great success in this very special year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot from Professor Wu Zhiqiang. Actually, we should remember 20 years ago, he started to support our research. I think that's the starting point for this platform. So sincerely, we want to show our respect to Professor Wu Zhiqiang. And at the same time, we have a lot of friends from India because we are in the time zone, and also the friends from Australia and Singapore. I think I would like to strongly introduce Professor Wu Zhiqiang. In the near future, we would like to invite him to make a speech. His expertise in the world, I think one of the first to put forward artificial intelligence in urban planning. So looking forward, Professor Wu Zhiqiang makes a speech in the near future. So thank you for your remarkable opening speech. And next, we would like to invite the Dean of CUP and College of Architecture and Urban Planning of Tongji University, Li Xiangning, to give an opening speech, please.
Okay. Dear Professor Wu Zhiqiang, Rosanna Hu, Ma Yansong, Philip Yuan, ladies and gentlemen, honored professors and students. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. First, allow me to welcome you to the Digital Futures annual event on behalf of Tongji University College of Architecture and Urban Planning, as well as congratulations to the successful closure drawn to the fourth conference on computational design and robotic fabrication. It was great for me to see the incredible presenters sharing their most advanced research and coming together to discuss their ideas, to share their new concept and the talent of the world's emerging through this open academic platform, Digital Futures. As an annual academic event, Digital Futures inclusively invited scholars and professionals to join forces to hold a series of conferences, lectures, workshops, exhibitions, and publications. So started in 2011, Digital Futures has cultivated a community of students and scholars ambitious in the field of computational design and the digital theory, as well as pushed forward the scientific research and practical exploration of digital design and fabrication on a global scale. From 2020, the entire program went online due to the global pandemic and has grown to an unprecedented scale in the past year. The digital revolution within the discipline, the shift in educational paradigm, as well as the educational platform, has transformed the boundaries of spaces and time and started a new chapter in the development of a global knowledge collective. With Digital Futures heading into the second decade, the world is also undergoing unprecedented changes. In a time anchored or recovery and revitalization, the summer event series themed One Planet this year, I think it's a very appropriate topic, appropriate right for this moment, may further serve as an open and inclusive platform for all architects and students on this shared planet, irrespectively of race, career, gender, and economic standing, so that none are excluded. It aims to establish a plenary classroom where everyone can come together and debate ideas, like some form of global brain. Lastly, I want to thank you all for the support and contributions to the Digital Futures program. I hope that you would learn from and enjoy this experience. And finally, wish the event series of Digital Futures a success. Right now, I'm in quarantine in a hotel in Tianjin. Due to the pandemic, we cannot see each other. So the online program is of course an option. But next year, I do hope that the pandemic could be better controlled, and we could see each other offline in Shanghai or any part of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot from Li Xiangning, our dean. Actually, I think this program actually starting from a collaboration between USC and Tongji University. At that time, Xiangning, who was the assistant dean, I think almost 12 years ago, and helped us to make a special meet. I still remember with Dean Qingyun Ma, and also he bring New Leach with him and introduced me. So we make a discussion in the cafeteria, the ground floor of Building C in Tongji, and we started talking about the topic and the theme of the event, of the summer event. So we gave the name DigitalFUTURES. That's really early, tracing back to 12 years ago. So I still remember that. I think not only Xiangning, but also we have formal deans like Professor Wu Changfu and Professor Li Zhenyu. They all contribute and gave a lot of support to this program. So I would like to thank Xiangning, thanks to all the contributors from my school. So thanks for that. And the next special guest, actually, we have Rosanna here, and Rosanna Hu, most of you know her name. She is right now the chair of the Department of Architecture and College of Architecture and Urban Planning, Tongji University. She actually the principal of Naren Hu Design Office, which is Shanghai-based, but also they have the other office in Europe, in the States, and in South Asia. I think she actually achieved a lot of prominent practice all over the world. So I would like to invite her to just her opening speech. Rosanna.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can everyone
hear
me?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Dean Philip Yuan, and honored guests, former Dean Wu Zhiqiang and Dean Li Xiangning. And tonight's speakers, I see Ma Yansong there. You look like you've lost weight, looking good. And Professor Leslie, other students and friends, good morning or good evening. Good morning for me. I'm here in New York, and good evening if you're in Shanghai or Beijing or elsewhere in China. And I guess it would be good afternoon in Europe. So depending on where you are, thank you for clicking in. And also allow me to thank everyone who is participating in this year's Digital Futures International Conference and Summer Workshop. So Digital Futures is an annual academic event hosted by Tongji University, where I am serving as a chair right now, and mainly undertaken by the School of Architecture and Urban Planning of Tongji University, Shanghai Construction Digital Construction Engineering Technology Research Center, and the Architectural Design and Research Institute of Tongji University. The program includes a series of very interesting conferences, work camps, and exhibitions. At present, the architectural discipline is undergoing a fundamental change, as many of you all know, regarding its integration with intelligent technology. So our profession's identity is also experiencing an interesting shift. And I think it's at this moment of the shift that makes a conference like this interesting for all of us. So architectural design, also, as we all have experienced, is no longer limited to just human intelligence, giving us, I think, extreme hope about the future. So we are now extending a new relationship or symbiosis between human and machine. Therefore, our built environment, the one that we engage in, enjoys new strategies of innovation, from smart thermal environments to smart buildings to integrated smart cities. The living environment we live in has essentially become an intelligent space linked closely with technology. It is within this context that I look forward to this year's Digital Futures lineup. And today we have amazing speakers from Ma Yansong to Leslie. And so this lineup is going to give us kind of new insights through a series of academic dialogues and also exploration on the development and application of intelligent technologies in architectural production from the perspective of theory, technology, and practice. I would also like to take a special moment to thank all the scholars, the volunteers, designers, and students who have, through the generosity of your time and effort, to contribute and strengthen our community amidst this different crisis on various scales. Here in China, we have experienced recent lifting of lockdown, and I think we are celebrating today also, as claimed by the media yesterday, that I hear we are reaching the point of, I think, zero tolerance. So Qingling happened yesterday. So, you know, congratulations to everyone in Shanghai. And so because Digital Futures benefits from this generosity from all of you, our activities and agendas embrace deeply the value of openness and shareism. And we welcome participants from all over the world and from all disciplines. And I must say, this is really extremely important. I was just in Vienna last week, and I met different scholars and teachers of architecture. And the one thing everyone talks about when I talk about Tongji is Digital Futures and Philip Yuan. So I think this is, you know, amazing for the for acknowledging the advancements that we have done within the school in this respect. And building this community of friends from all over the world, from all walks of life and different disciplines, whether you are an academic or on the professional side, I think we want to use this platform to communicate, to share, to learn together, and feast on the achievements of Digital Future, as we have seen in the past, and hopefully will be on greater scales in the future. So finally, let us give our best wishes to 2022 Digital Future Summer event. Congratulations on a fantastic program, and also to Professor Philip Yuan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. From Rosanna, I think you give remarkable notes to the event. So looking forward to have you in the future to contribute, invite more people coming to our PhD consortium. I think we need some expertise and prominent professors to contribute their knowledge to the platform. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rosanna. And next goes to, I think, the special part for the opening event, because all of us wish the opening ceremony. So I'm thinking a lot to invite who would be the best to represent China to make a speech to the world. So finally, Yansong Ma, actually, I think this is the third time we invite him. The first time in 2012, actually, Ding Ma, Qingyu Ma, he actually curated a special event, Dual Ma Talks. So that is super interesting. I don't know, maybe Ma Yansong still remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, actually, you make speech in our Zhongting auditorium, and including the corridor, including the front seat, filling with around 600 people in a 300 auditorium. So I still remember the great event when you make first speech on this platform. And then I think during the pandemic 2020, I invite Patrick Schumacher have a talk to Ma Yansong. I still remember the most remarkable comments from Patrick is he said, Yansong, you like very similar, what the talk is very similar to Zaha did. So it's like you have the similar feeling, and it's not maybe very much based on the technology itself, but it's about the artistic, creative thinking in your last lecture. So I think this year still, I think it's a special event, and we invite Yansong Ma, although he is super busy, but I think he would like to give us special support to this global event. And we are the first venue to start this event, although its opening event will lasting around 6 hours. So Yansong Ma will make the first speech and to represent our time zone. So briefly introduce Yansong Ma, who is the founder of MAD Architects. And he leads design across various skills with a vision to create a new balance among society, the city, and the environment through architecture. Parallel to his design practice, he also explores the cultural values of cities and architecture through the domestic, international also exhibitions, publications, and artworks. In 2008, he was selected as one of the 20 most influential young architects by Icon magazine. Fast Company named him one of the 10 most creative people in architecture in 2009, and one of the 100 most creative people in business in 2014. And in 2020, he had received the RBA International Fellowship. In 2014, he was awarded Young Global Leaders, YGL, by the World Economic Forum. He holds the bachelor's degree from the Beijing Institute of Civil Engineering and Architecture and holds the master's degree in architecture from Yale University. I think at that time he used to be the student of Zhang Ha, right? He has been an adjunct professor of Beijing University of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Tsinghua University, and University of Southern California. So let's welcome Ma Yansong to give this lecture. The topic is Insert New Space-Time. I think we're looking forward to have some new knowledge, actually, and new practice from Ma Yansong. So welcome. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Professor Yuan. It's my honor to be here tonight. Since I'm coming every year, so I take this event as a as an opportunity to study and observe other people's research and the practice. And so this time, I'm going to show you several new projects, but probably including several recent and old projects as well. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yes.
And, okay. So the title is Insert New Space at Time. I think we're talking about the future by talking about the technology. And I think the future is also starting from imagination, like what we believe in the future. So I think the time and space are also quite important. I think architecture is a physical material and the space and the technology, but architecture also forms space, atmosphere, and even the strong context to influence how people behave and react to such space. So I think architecture is creating space and time. So I will start from one, I think, very interesting competition we entered a couple years ago. So you can recognize this image is city of Paris, and you see Eiffel Tower and another dark color tower to the right. The name of it is a Tower Montparnasse, and it's very big, right? It looks very heavy, and the Paris people, they don't like it. So they hold this competition to redesign the facade of this building. And we submit a proposal like this. It's basically plating the whole facade to make the whole facade reflect the surrounding, but upside down. So this is basically it's some special optical glass. So we calculate each piece of glass. So when they reflect, they work like some special mirror. when they see this image, they were all like, wow, this is very interesting. They never thought about this. And why you upside down the Eiffel Tower? And then I was like, because you already have a real Eiffel Tower standing like normal, and now we want to reflect it and make it upside down. And but why I want to talk about this, because in this image, you see two things. Eiffel Tower was something we call future, right? A long time ago when we built it, when we first saw Eiffel Tower was a steel tower, it's a huge scale, and it's so monumental. And the people think, oh, this is a monument of humans, technology, and the power and the capitalism. And now we have more and more tall buildings. And some tall buildings we hate it, right? Like this Black Tower, and we have to rethink where we started, why this high-rise building going that way, why they become more powerful, more taller, stronger. So the whole modern city become a monument of capitalism and power. So that's why we want to use this image and the competition to raise the question that the future we thought about long time ago is not a future anymore. And then now when we want to create a new future, we need to go back and revisit those ideas and concepts and values. And even we should criticize those values. So this is how I think about the future. Is all this future will become classic and history. And the second project is actually art project we finished a couple years ago in Japan. You see this. This is a real photo of beautiful mountains and the valley, and you see this beautiful river. And a lot of people go there and to see this river. And because the river is too narrow, so they build a tunnel in the mountain. So every visitor, they go in there and observe the water. And then when we come, we build a house here. Like there's a big roof, and inside is actually a tourist center. But everything in this image is very realistic, right? It's beautiful, but you can see this in the real nature. But what we create inside the tunnel is something we call tunnel of light. It's a artistic space, I would say, by using light as a material. So we put the metal panels on the wall and the ceiling, and then we drew water from river, and we put the water on the ground, so people can walk in the water and then they can observe the outside. So in this project, we actually create another space, another time. Although this space is having the conversation with a beautiful nature outside, but the space inside is not existing in the nature world, but is coexist with the nature. So so what we want to create is this atmosphere that human feels they're floating in the sky, right? When you have a water mirror the sky, and then you have this complete circle, and people feels they are floating on the edge of the water. So that's how people can interact with such space, with the light, with the water. So that's a very simple material, but you can also call this architecture space. I think that's what we're doing. Like architects, they deal with the nature, they deal with what exists on Earth, but we create man-made environment, which include a lot of imagination and some inspiration from the nature, and then we use technology to achieve those. So I would say this is a space more timeless. You don't know this is from the past or the future. It doesn't show the technology itself, but it's using the technology to create that special moment. And then now I'm going to show you one a small building in Haikou. This is actually the whole plan of oceanfront renew project to active all the waterfront public space, and we designed the first building. It's a library. It's a very small building. So this model of the architecture, and we create a space of a host. So we call this cloudscape library. It feels like a floating cloud, but inside you find the negative space. So inside actually is a library, is a toilet, is a shower, serving the people who's doing the sports. So that's a model, and that's how we build it. We because you saw the model is quite complex, and we want to make this all continuous cave kind of a space, and out of concrete. So we made this wood mold, which looked like a sculpture already, and then we cast the whole concrete building. And that's when the building completed. It looked like the model is the same, right? But it's all concrete. It has a material, but by using this concrete material, all the space and the walls and the structure elements are all mixed in one complete geometry. Right? You don't see the isolated building element. So why we're doing this? Because the space is more important in this case. You see the holes and as entrance, as a window, as a corridor, and as a light well, right? So you enter the space and you want to explore the complexity of it. So for example, this is a like entrance space, and you see a coffee shop. You see this second floor terrace. So people walking into the building like this. So everything is continuous. And here you see the far away, you see the windows and the skylight, right? This skylight, a lot of holes, a lot of small hole, large hole, but everything is continuous. And the glass and the windows and the bookshelf and the steps inside. So all concrete, right? So I think here we're trying to that we're creating this observing holes to look at the faraway nature, right? So I would say that the beautiful ocean, the sky, they're beautiful, the same, and but they're real. They're real nature. They're existing in the nature. But what we want to create is a new angle. Is a new way to observe it. It's a different from when you walk outside the building. right? You see the nature. So it's necessary to create this strangeness or abstraction of the space. So when you look at the nature, the beautiful surrounding, you have a different understanding. This is some staircase going to the second floor, and the lighting come down, and this is how the bookshelf, everything about the light and the sculpture of the concrete. It's a little bit like imaginary space inside a cloud, right? It's a little bit unrealistic. It's a surreal. That's a word I want to describe, because surreal and unrealistic is necessary to draw people away from present. Right? We see the actual things every day, and every image we see has sort of a cultural reference. When we see this building, when we see the facade, when we see the material, we know the meaning of it. So it suddenly tells us what this building is about, but we don't want this. We want building to be no cultural reference, more abstract. So we will feel a little bit lost when we enter the space like this. And then it's lost in space. I think it's necessary for people to be more sensitive to what's inside themselves, and then to transform this feeling into imaginations. So those are the sculpture and the strange concrete shapes to create this strangeness. But this also has to do with the scale. This is actually a library room for kids. So adults cannot go in, and the kids can go in, and they can sit there. They can lie down on those couches and a sofa, and there's also some accident in the concrete forming, and you see these bubbles. But I like those. I think those has some human touch and natural feeling. And this project is a kindergarten we just completed in Beijing. So this is a bird view. You see a very colorful roof. It's a new kindergarten classrooms, and it's surrounding a traditional. You see this courtyard house in the middle, right? So this obviously there's a traditional building, there's a new building, and we try to put them together. This image is the first visit when I see the property. There's a quite nice condition of historical building in the middle. You see the sloping roof, the courtyard, but those buildings to the right, actually, they're the new buildings. They build to respect the old. So they build a new building look like old. I don't like it. I think it's a fake. And I think that the technology is newer, but I don't see the value of it, right? So it's not necessarily new technology means better architecture, right? So I think it's necessary to take them down, to demolish them. And so basically that's all these red buildings we decide to demolish at the beginning because they're fake. They're fake old building. So after that, we want to use the whole site to make one floor building, including a courtyard inside, including classrooms, because we want to keep the new building very low. So when you're in the old courtyard house, you don't see the new buildings because it's low. They're both single floor. And then the roof, of course, is very big. And then we want to take the roof as a open space, like for kids to have a outdoor class. So here is one building completed. We have old and we have a new. I mean, the new architecture is very different. It has its own character. It's nothing similar to the old building. The color is different, the structure and the shape. So they look a little bit contrast, right? So when you are on the red roof, looking at the old building, it feels like you're standing on Mars and look at the Earth. It's a little bit because the courtyard house, the old traditional building, is so familiar. Everyone's familiar. When you see that, you imagine a special period of time, and the architecture reflect that time. But when you standing on the roof like this, you feel, this is new. You don't know where this come from. And then we have a courtyard, we have a room, classroom like this. There's why we're doing the courtyard. Of course, we have trees we need to preserve, but also we need a courtyard to bring the natural light and the wind, the ventilation to our building. So later I find this typology of architecture is quite consistent from the old traditional building. Although it's all new building, but I mean, it's all about internal space and nature. So maybe that's the secret code that new and old can match each other, can talk to each other, but they're not necessarily looking the same. So because they're looking different, maybe we can create a new time and space for the kids, right? They know themselves are not from the past, right? They know they're from contemporary society. So when they look at the old, they know that's from the past and that's real. And they are observing and study the history in order to create the future. So that's why we like to have both new and old contrast in the image, but internally more interact and connected. So those are the images in the new building looking at the old building. And this is another project. It's a bigger. It's a little bit like a park, right? But it's actually a several large-scale stadiums. So normally, in each city, they build stadiums and swimming pool, all this public sports facility. But in this case, we covered all this building into those green mountains. And those green mountains look like volcanoes in those rendering, right? But this building is under construction right now, and one of those already completed. So you see, we take all this building as landscape elements, and people can actually walk on the facade, and they can climb all this building. They can reach the rooftop of the volcanoes. So the architecture as a material disappeared. Instead, you will have this land art public park in the city, and everyone can enter and enjoy it, right? And this a big stadium is disappearing as well. Why we're doing this? Because we thought all these big buildings are showing the muscle in all the cities, because the sports normally we understand as a competition, and everything actually in the city is also about competition. The buildings, high rise, people fighting for the all this everything. So we need a space to relax and feels that people can enjoy the nature and maybe observing the sky or something, a flower or stone. So I think nature is more open to everyone. But inside the mountain, it has to be a building because that's the whole project about. And so they see this. We have to build like this. So inside we have rooms and the seatings and the venues, and this is a sports venue for basketball. But it's a very large span structure. But on the top of it, you have to allow people to access, and also we need to put trees on the mountains. So it's quite challenging for such structure. This is another mountain. Inside is a swimming pool, and we also having a different space and the structure system, so that you can have a different program in those mountains, and then you need a ventilation, you need a natural light as well. So it's a building as a space. But outside, we build a building first, and then we build a landscape. This construction site, and this is a stadium already completed. And you see that all this landscape, they're actually become part of the facade of the building. Underneath is a program, is a road, is all the functions, but people can freely walk everywhere. They can enter the stadium from all directions. Actually, it's a little bit hard to manage a building like this, but you can really find the freedom in such space. And that's a parking structure also underneath the building, and it's all the landscaping, right? So it's a nature, right? It's artificial nature landscape, but it's also different from the normal park, because it's a combination of nature and architecture. So I would say it's more close to land art. So we want to use the space for everyone, for public to enter such space, families, kids, dogs, so they can go in there and enjoy there's a freedom of observing other people, observing nature, observing sky, and maybe rethink the relationship, of themselves and the society. So those are images of it. And then we show the interior, right? This is underneath the nature. You also see the structure, the concrete, the open space, and the seatings, the bus, and the parking, the entrance. It's all concrete. And this is a tower, right? This actually architecture model look like classic Chinese panzai, right? It's a small model. You can put it on the table, and then we transform this into a real building. Of course, it's a larger, right? But it's interesting. This model look classic, but when you put it as architecture in the city, it look futuristic. Some people call it inserting into normal city, right? Because the building is special. It's a dark color. It has a curves representing maybe the nature, the mountain, and those elements you can normally find in the nature, but not in the city. So in this image, the building is talking to the park in front of it and the trees but not talking much to the surrounding buildings. But inside this development, we also create Green Valley that as an open public space, so everyone can go in there and enjoy those nature. And that's what you see from the street. It's quite alien, I would say. I mean, when the building become large and so black and so different from the surrounding building, it has some atmosphere that draw everyone out of the reality. It has that power, I feel. So, but I find that's that's interesting that we draw people out of the reality, but where people goes. Some people think, oh, this is futuristic because they normally don't find such image in reality, but somehow it also linked to the past. They also linked to the traditional Penzai and mountains and the shanshui art. So we like that contrast. We saw that's like a black hole, wormhole in the city. It's like quite a different space that people start to wander around and has their own universe. So here you see there's a residence, the apartment building and the commercial building and the valleys in between. And this another project is also look like mountains. So we did several large-scale urban development like this. They look all like from traditional paintings, but they're new, big, modern buildings. So this one look like a mountainscape, right? So we put those white louvers vertically, and sometimes they're curvy, and they become the background of the village. And all this background look like mountains or waterfall or whatever. They become a background about the nature. It's not the urban background. And then we create this dense but a smaller scale buildings in the middle. So when you enter such space, you feel this is like a village. It's very human and comfortable scale. There's a second floor and the courtyard and trees and the green mountains. And and it's not only about the mountain look, mountain shape. We also try to change the organization inside the tower. For example, this image is elevator core. We take the core from inside the building to the outside, so become a tower outside the building. And then the elevator only stop every 3 levels, and people using the bridge go into the building, and then inside the building will have a void without core, right? It's a gardens inside the building. Each garden 3 floors, so people can, use the garden as a public space in the high rise. This is another, I can call this mountain because it's like a little small snow mountain by the river in Harbin, very northern city of China, very cold place in the winter. So it's an opera house. There's 2 theaters here, and then we have the plaza in between. So you can see all these buildings are trying to become the landscape, the trees line in the landscape. And the building, it's merging to the horizon because the building is not object. It's more like tend to continue to the horizon, to the ground. So the people actually can walk onto the facade. They can climb the building. They can walk around the building from the exterior. So when the building closed, there's no show or opera. So people can still interact with the building, and they can all the way come to the roof and they reach a space like this. It's an amphitheater, and also you can observing the surrounding, also the sky. So the building, it's very low, and they're trying to become horizontal, right? It's become easy to approach, so to give you such feeling, and that shows the ramp on the facade. And the night view, you see the building is very transparent and open. During the daytime, there are a lot of natural light coming in, and you see the wood object as a auditorium. So interior become also feels like an exterior, and the staircase become a performing space for audience. And like when they walk on this, they see each other. You know, they're ready for the drama. Next, right? This is inside of the auditorium. We also having a natural light coming in. So inside this drama, it's all unreal, right? It's a drama. Is bring you to another time and the space. So I think the space of the theater should also serving that function. Here you also don't see much technology, right? It's only pure space, and then we use the light to shape the atmosphere. In the same region of Heilongjiang, is a very cold snow mountain called Yabuli. It's a ski resort, also a location for a Chinese enterprise conference every year. It's a little bit like a Chinese version of Davos. So we built a conference building for such event. So in this image, you see the white roof. It's actually the building. It's not big, but it's trying to do the same. It's trying to look low key and merge to the snow and landscape, and try to respecting the mountains, because mountain is about more vertical feeling, and the building is trying to be horizontal. So again, the roof become extension of landscape. Although this roof is floating, it's not connecting to the ground, but we take the roof as the feeling of the roof. It's a sort of a artificial landscape feeling. So you see those lines on the roof, and here you see the lines. So the line showing how the wind and the snow moves on the ground. But we take this image and translate into the method how we lay out those metal panels on the roof, right? So it's the roof become a sort of a new landscape, and there's a bridge connect the conference center to the hotel nearby. Here you can see the roof more clearly, and in the middle there's a light well, skylight, to bring the natural light into the central hall. So here you see the interior is it's all wood. The wood become, the wood has a material. We feel warm, we feel soft, we feel the wood is a nature, but we also want to make the space feels more abstract. So here I think again the light, the natural light, is a key for such space. And here you see the bridge connect the meeting rooms on the second floor, and then how the skylight come down and show the shadows and the sculpture geometry on the wall. Right? The darkness, the brightness, you know, all this thing is, I think, it is artificial sculptural kind of a space. This image, what you're looking at is a lot of trees, right? But behind the trees, there's a tiny brick building, second floor, 2-floor building. It's a classic train station from 100 years ago in the city of Jiaxing. And 100 years ago, there's some historical moment that the China Communist Party's first group of members, they come here to complete the first meeting. So the train come here and then they take the boat for such meeting. So the building become quite a historical and listed. So that's why this building in the middle. And what's the building? What's the new building behind it? That's actually a new train station. The old building was here. It's a small, and the new development actually is very large, but you don't see those things from last image because we take this large train station and we put it underground. So we can have a lot of trees and the parks and the green on the public space on the ground level. So again, in this image, you see a building 100 years old, also some new building. They're different, but seems this new building is respecting the old because it tends to be low. That's exactly what we try to do, because all the train stations in China, they're huge, they're big, because I mean the train business is some sort of achievement, right? It's a very successful achievement, the fast train. So the architecture become a monument of this. They all become very big. But here, we try to convince the government to make the train station simple and low key and not big, to have a better relationship with this historical 2-floor building. But the train station can be underground if we can bring natural light right into it. So we actually connect the train station underground to the underground parking, underground buses, underground public subways. So above it, we have this only commercial activity and the green parks. And here you see the old station and the new space underneath. And that's a waiting room for the train station. You see the natural light. You see the horizontal connection at the lower level to all the transportation methods. So here is a space underground. So this space is a little bit, I would say, abstract. You don't find a historical moment or image or reference in such space, but you know this is linked to that historical building. So the whole urban area of the train station become very interesting space for public as open space and the park as a park, but also as a space they can feel about the past and the future. And here you see the platforms. We also kept the traditional bridge and intersecting with a new roof. So it's about parallel coexist of new and old. Here the same. So this is in the urban space. I think it's very important that to create such time and space in the city, so that people can feel the richness and the complexity of such society. And there's a building under construction. So I'm going to show you two projects we are about to complete recently. This one is a museum building in Los Angeles. It's called the Museum of Lucas Museum of Narrative Arts, founded by George Lucas. He's everyone knows the director of a Star Wars movie, and the museum is about storytelling and narrative arts. It's located in Exposition Park in Los Angeles. So here you see this rendering shows the city and its relationship to our building. The building is a little bit like a floating structure, right? So like a little bit like a cloud. And this is some surrounding environment. We float the building so that we can have a public space and the landscape on the ground level and shaded by this building. At the same time, we create another roof garden on the upper part. So there's two layers of public space. The building also serves as a gateway into the Exposition Park, because there are several other museums here. So our building has the park entrance underneath. So here's become a gate, and above it we have the building and exhibition space floating above. And this is a construction image, and yeah, this is the entrance and the lobby and the gateway. Here you see the sky, you see the lobby to the museum and the lobby to the education part of the museum. So it's an open space, it's a public space. Everyone can access here, and it's shaded. It's quite necessary in Los Angeles. And then when you enter the lobby, you take elevators, and then you raise up to the exhibition. So lifting is a key word. Why the building look like a cloud? Because cloud is up there in the sky, it's floating, and it feels mysterious, and it feels making people curious about it, what's inside, right? I think it's also something important for the cultural building. People need to be curious about the content inside, and they should be ready for the explore of the content. So architecture is a part of this journey. Architecture should making people wonder and ready, what's next. And that's the landscape and architecture floating above. And those are some construction photos underway. I think next year the museum will be completed. This is another project under construction in Shenzhen. It's a model of it, several stone-like structure, right? You see the landscape, you see some strange stones, and but that's abstract model. When you put it in the modern city like this, it has it will create such force in between the reality and this new space we're creating. It's a museum in Shenzhen. the green part is also part of the museum because there is huge program. Is 100,000 square meter program. So the most function, we put it in the landscape so that the roof of the exhibition space can still be public, the green park. And inside this park, we will have several special rooms inside those stone shaped building for exhibition. So that's the layout of basically the very simple. You have a building underneath, courtyard, and then the landscape as a roof, and then several special buildings. So when the interesting images like this, when you look at this without background, when you look at this, and you feel the stone and this image is quite a classic. It's quite ancient even. If it could feel from billions of years ago. The stone, the ocean, the sunshine, they're always there, always been there. The city is so temporary. The modern city, the modern image, glass building, all the technology, feels temporary, short term. So it's interesting that architecture or public space could enlarge the space, the feelings of the moment. Now everyone live in the moment, but we can enlarge such moment, and then the imagination might start from that moment. So here you see the background, the building. So from the different direction, and you see the roof of the building. We take the ramp so you can climb out of the stone, and that's what's inside. Right? Also quite a special vertical space, horizontal space for different exhibitions. A lot of natural light coming in the courtyard, the stone supporting stone. And now we're testing the facade material, and we try to use the natural granite, natural stone to make a curved building. And it's quite difficult, but I feel, since we consider this building as a device to talk to the ancient time, so I think it's necessary to make the technology a little bit timeless. Okay, the last one is a little different. It's a social housing. It's also a project we just completed in Beijing. Here you see this image from the sky. It's quite large, 4,000 families. And you see the street, you see this running track. Well, actually, we build a neighborhood instead of buildings. So here, that's why the streets here, they're internal. We try to make the community open, so the street could connect to the urban street. So this is social housing, right? The low-income people live here. So I think it's necessary to link this community to the larger society, so they're not closed like a prison. And so we create the street on the ground level to make the commercial active on the ground level, and the second level become more like private residence only space. So here you see this vertical community with the street on the ground level, and the gardens and public nature on the second level, and public facilities above, and the houses even on the upper level. You see, you can see. I want to put this at the last of this presentation, because I want to show that for us that building shapes and technology, I mean, it's very flexible for different projects. In such social project like this, I think it's important to achieve the social relationship, social values in such community by using very low resources, like low cost and a very easy construction and such. So here you can see the park and the public space on both levels. So on the street level, we also had a lot of open area. In the future, we thought they could inserting more program for different programs. I think it's important that all this program not only serving the people who live above, who live here in this community, but also can attract people from the surrounding neighborhood, even from the whole city. So the residents here, they don't only get houses, they also get gardens, also they get the belongings. They feel they're part of the society, not isolated from it. So here, I think the goal it's to create this very materialized physical space like this. But nothing here is challenging, right? In terms of technology, or because it's a low cost, we build it, we complete the project. Now the people already moving, but now the issue just the start. Like people talking about the privacy, talking about the safety issues, talking about whether they should connect to the larger society. And because all the houses in China, including the commercial houses, they're all gated community. They're not open. So the city become a lot of black holes. Like you never go to those areas because they're all closed. So we want to change this by taking this opportunity, and this becomes so utopia in such way. It's so difficult. We feel so. I'm showing this project just to show sometimes the goal and technology is quite a different thing. And the technology has you can touch it. You know the technology from which time, and there's the improvement, development, and the social issues is different. And sometimes a very simple goal can be difficult. And here's a corner shop, and there's the only shop right now. It's open in this community because we provide a lot of shops on the ground level, and the management team from government, they had a hard time to manage. They don't know what kind of business they should have in this community. But those are issues. Now we as architects continue involving into the process. We're trying to be the tool, or architect profession can be the tool to heal such social issues. So I find this quite complex as architect to decide what technology we're using and solving what issues. And here's other photos. You see the bridges. We use the bridges and those linear running line to connect all the buildings so that people can all these 4,000 families, they can probably like to walk around and meet each other and maybe gathering here for some social event. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's the last image.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much to Ma Yansong. It's a wonderful review on the recent year's new project. Probably it's first time for us to take a look of the Los Angeles Museum. I think it's fantastic to make this lecture. So we have some time to put forward some questions to Ma Yansong. I think it should be a very critical time to you because on this academic platform. So in the past few weeks, we have a lot of discussion on the new design methodology. Actually, the style of MAD, a lot of tools generated by AI can actually simulate different stylistic design, maybe 50% MAD, 50% Jaha, and it's kind of new design approaches from the new technology which can achieve. But during this kind of discussion, I think we argue a lot about what is the creativity, what is the value of the human being, and what is authorship is coming from is from the human being itself, or in the future should integrate the human with the machine. So I want to ask you about the how to value your contribution in your office, normally speaking. We can see the quality or the special character which present from your project, which have a very strong independence control in the whole process. Sometimes it's like it's a form, it's a formalism, and maybe you control the form, geometry. But sometimes, like the last project, is about the social aspects. Although it's low cost project, but we can see the quality. Your focus maybe is rather than the form itself, but goes to the social networks and the relationship between the buildings and neighborhood. So I want to ask you, could you make a description about how you define yourself in your office to be MAD, or what's the value for your contribution?
I think we are still young office. We are still young architects. We don't know where we are going, and I mean, we have a general direction, but we are also curious what's new next. So I don't think we have a style yet. Maybe maybe the style is that we don't want to be similar to other people. We try to find the uniqueness, but some special thing is necessary in each project. I think that requires emotional reaction. So sometimes it's not about the method, because when you have a method, everyone can use it. Everyone can use it, and they can achieve maybe similar result. But we don't have. I mean, I don't know. It's rather more randomness. I mean, or emotional. But we do have things we like. We do have things we don't like. For example, the social housing project. We had some thought at the beginning, consideration whether we should show Met style architecture from the beginning. Then we find it will be not necessary, become too costly. We just realized our building is quite it take more money and technology. And so, but they all public space. I mean, sometimes we thought we think at the museum is important because it's a spiritual space for everyone. It costs more money, it's important. And the social housing is not important because it's just providing rooms, but it's not. It's all public. Why one space become important, another space is not? They're all important, but each space, the priority is different. For the housing, I think the thing we really hate in our current housing around the city is they use the forms and material to show the value. So you can see some, you see some luxury housing. Of course, they're bigger units, but they just typical same typology as the architecture, right? But they put the marbles on the facade, so they sell more expensive, and they set up sort of social values, and the people think, oh, that's the life we want to live in. We want to change that. We want to say architecture should be simple, but still elegant, and you still feel beauty and of the space. But more important, the home should be more focused on, how much space you can have and how much freedom you have, privacy versus openness, and the conversation with other people, so community. So I think priority it depends. But when we do the social housing, we want to be different. We want to do this housing different from other social housing. So I don't know. Maybe style is dying. Maybe style is a result of commercial.
I think that's a critical point to you, because in the students or a lot of university actually, to them, you are some of the iconic figure they want to learning from, and also make a lot of analysis. Maybe they can design something more like MAD. It's like a lot of MAD in the studio actually, but they are not MAD. But so the genetic, this kind of you name it stylistic is probably is the most important issue you need to take in account to overpass, because that is extremely the challenge, because too many small MAD are growing up, especially AI, the machine itself can generate the stylistic form actually in a lot of competitions, and that is really happened. We can see in the workshop studios, so many people make research on that. So because of the time limitation, we have a very intense limitation of the schedule. And the last question, I just put forward a question to you. I think the most important to MAD, you need to think about how to address my Yansong, not only in China, but to address your name on this planet. I think we're looking forward to see if we can select one or two or three prominent represented Chinese architect. What contribution can you give to the planet? So maybe that's not a comment, but that's a question to you. And also showing our, we're looking forward to tracing and the future growing, as you mentioned yourself, as a young architect, still young, to see what will happen next. So thanks a lot for your contribution. Thanks a lot for your lecture.